At 6:42 a.m., sharp, under the cold light of a terminal that never sleeps, Margaret Ellis gingerly lowered a freshly baked cherry pie into her carry-on bag. She cradled it like a newborn, careful, reverent. That pie wasn't just dessert. It was legacy, a syrup-soaked symbol of love, memory, and pride. For every milestone in her son Daniel's life, Margaret had made that same pie. When he came home from college, when he launched his first startup, when he walked away from a totaled sedan, swearing he was through with fast cars forever. And today, she wasn't shipping it. She was flying across the country to hand it to him herself. Not because he needed pie, but because she needed him to know she was proud. Daniel Ellis wasn't just anybody. Today, he was being announced as the youngest black CEO in North Star Airlines' 50-year history. A company once known for flying elite executives was now being led by the same boy Margaret once held through asthma attacks and algebra tears. The taxi ride to the airport was hushed. The driver, an elderly Arab gentleman with a silver beard and hands weathered by time, leapt out to assist her like he was greeting his own mother. "Let me help you, ma'am," he said, lifting her bag with care. "Look at that," Margaret smiled. "Chivalry's still alive." "You flying to see family?" he asked. "My son," she said. "Big day for him." At the terminal, the check-in agent glanced at her name, typed something, paused, then smiled. "Mr. Daniel Ellis personally upgraded you to first class. On the house." Margaret blinked away tears. That boy, always taking care of his mama. Security was a breeze. No one dares delay a woman who walks with dignity and smells like cinnamon and quiet conviction. As she boarded the plane, the gate agent offered to walk her down the jet bridge. "I may be seasoned, baby," she chuckled, "but I still got legs." First class felt like more than comfort. It felt like a new chapter. Margaret placed her carry-on gently into the overhead bin, as if tucking in a sleeping child. Then she sank into the leather seat, not just flying but arriving, until she didn't. An older white woman, adorned in pearls and silent entitlement, slid into the seat beside Margaret like the cushion had betrayed her. She huffed. She shifted. She sucked a mint with courtroom objection energy. Margaret said nothing, because women like her had learned to speak volumes with silence. Then it came. "Excuse me, ma'am," a flight attendant murmured. Not warmly, not kindly. The politeness was tight-wrapped ice. "There seems to be a seating error. This seat isn't part of first class." Margaret remained still. Voice calm, spine steel. "This is seat 1A. That's what my ticket says." She retrieved her boarding pass, handed it over. The attendant glanced at it briefly. "System error. Please follow me." No apology. No explanation. No dignity. Margaret rose. Not because she agreed, but because peace sometimes costs more than pride. She reached for her bag. The pie trembled, like even it knew this wasn't right. As she passed rows of passengers who weren't looking but were absolutely watching, she was led to the very last seat on the plane, next to the lavatory. Two strangers flanked her, knees touching, elbows claiming space. Her hands folded gently over the pie, the only thing left unviolated. She didn't weep. She didn't rage. She sat, until a voice from across the aisle broke the hush. "Ma'am, didn't you just come from first class?" A young man, hoodie, twisted braids, headphones around his neck. Not angry, but something in his voice didn't sit right. "They said it was a mistake," Margaret replied. Short, controlled, but it cracked just enough. He stared, then reached for his phone. "You mind if I record this? People need to see." She didn't nod, didn't speak, but a single tear escaped. That was all the permission he needed. The captain's voice soon filled the cabin. "We are honored to have our new CEO, Mr. Daniel Ellis, on board today." The young man froze. Head turned. Eyes darted. "Ellis?" he whispered, then looked at Margaret. "Wait, that's your son?" She nodded. He stood up, voice booming. "Can someone explain why the CEO's mother just got bumped from first class for a white lady who didn't even have a seat?" Gasps. Phones raised. Eyes wide. The same flight attendant hurried down the aisle. "Sir, please sit down. You're disrupting." "No, you disrupted," he replied. You threw this woman back here like she didn't matter. That's not a mistake. That's a message. Other voices rose. I saw her ticket, said one woman. It said first class. She was quiet, respectful, added a businessman. She didn't do anything wrong. Then a whisper, not meant to be heard, but heard anyway. You did the right thing, said the woman in pearls to the flight attendant. Those people don't belong up here. A man nearby turned. Excuse me, what did you just say? Nothing, she muttered. Mind your business. He stood, calm, unbothered, but firm. I'd like to speak to a supervisor. The cabin shifted. Tension rippled. And then, like a cue from the universe, the cockpit door opened. Out stepped the captain. He walked with calm authority to row 32. Looked Margaret in the eye. Mrs. Ellis. Yes. I apologize. Please follow me. He offered his hand. Like a salute. Like recognition. The cabin hushed. Margaret rose, pie in hand. First-class passengers moved. Nodded. Whispered, yes, ma'am. The captain guided her to a private window seat. Wide. Untouched. Dignified. And back in economy. The offending flight attendant stood frozen, watching her training fall apart. Then a new figure entered. Dark blazer. Badge. Airport operations. He leaned into the flight attendant. May I speak with you privately? They disappeared down the jet bridge. She returned minutes later without her badge. No words. Just exit. Margaret sat. Quiet. Pie on her lap. Applause behind her. Back in her old seat, the woman in pearls pretended to read a magazine. But her hands trembled. Her face stiff. Eventually, she rose. Came to Margaret. I didn't mean for that to happen, she whispered. It was a misunderstanding. Margaret turned. Full face. Full heart. I forgave you, she said, before you even opened your mouth. But don't confuse that with forgetting. The woman returned to her seat. Smaller now. The plane landed. But the real arrival had already occurred. At the gate stood a welcoming party. Erica, Daniel's assistant. Press. Cameras. Suits. But all Margaret saw was her son. No entourafe. No applause. Just him, arms wide. He pulled her close. I saw everything, Mama, he said. You carried yourself like a queen. She smiled. Lifted the pie. Didn't come to make noise. Just want to bring you this. He laughed. You brought a pie and left with the whole plane's respect. By the next morning, America knew her name. The airline issued apologies. Overhauled policies. Fired staff. Hired trainers. Pledged reform. Margaret? She was in her kitchen. In slippers. Fork in hand. She took a bite of pie. Perfect. When Daniel texted, Mama, everyone's calling. She replied, I'm fine, baby. Just had a slice of pie. Let them talk. Because Margaret Ellis didn't demand attention. She lived truth. So clearly, the world had to adjust its volume just to hear her silence.